Before I begin, let me greet everyone happy Chinese New Year. I wish everyone a prosperous 2023, lalo na sa PAGCOR. Alam nyo sa PAGCOR, pag game of chance, kailangan dyan swerte. No? Kaya I wish PAGCOR all the luck so that your revenue will increase and more dividends to the General Appropriations Act. So with that, again, thank you very much for your time and effort, and thank you very much for
this meeting is being
coming here
recorded.
physically. Let me make special mention to the BSP. The BSP, I requested some information from the BSP over the weekend, and to my surprise, but I'm really impressed, BSP provided us with some information on a Sunday. And thank you very much po sa BSP. Even though it was a Sunday, you managed to give us some documents that we requested. And thank you very much for attending this hearing physically, even though we requested the BSP only yesterday to join us physically. But thank you very much. This hearing is quite important because we'll be going deeper into some of the issues, especially regarding the implementation of RA 11590. So this is the fourth hearing on the resolutions that were filed. The resolution, proposed Senate Resolution 225. Let me just read the title. Resolution directing the Committee on Ways and Means and other appropriate committees of the Senate to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the revenues generated by the government from the Philippine offshore gaming operators, Pogo, vis-a-vis the social costs attendant to the operation of Pogos in the country, authored by Senator Joel Villanueva. And then there's another resolution, Senate Resolution 227, resolution directing the appropriate Senate committee conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the government's revenue collection from the implementation of Republic Act number 11590 and the economic and social costs incurred by the government in addressing crimes related to the Philippine offshore gaming operations industry, authored by yours truly. And lastly, proposed Senate Resolution 229, resolution expressing the sense of the Senate of the need to evaluate the existence of Philippine offshore gaming operators, POGOs, in the country in light of the social costs that outweigh the reported economic gains from its operations, authored by Senator Grace Poe. And tangent to this, we'll be conducting motu proprio, an oversight on the implementation of Republic Act number 11590. It's impossible to discuss all of these resolutions without going deeper into Republic Act number 11590. And Republic Act number 11590 is the law regulating the revenue collection of government from POGOs. And the title of this law, an act taxing Philippine offshore gaming operations, amending for the purposes sections 22, 25, 27, 28, 106, 108, and adding new sections 125A and 288G of the National Internal Revenue Code of 1997 as amended and for other purposes. So this is the law that governs the tax collection of POGOs in our country. So this is the fourth hearing, and aside from the topics that we have discussed during the first three hearings today, we'll be going deeper into Republic Act number 11590. So before I continue, let me direct the committee secretary to acknowledge our resource persons for today.
Good morning, Your Honor. For today's public hearing, we have the following resource persons. From the Department of Finance, we have Mr. Ricardo Toquero. From the Bureau of Internal Revenue, we have Attorney Sixto C. D. Jr. From the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation, we have Attorney Roderick R. Consolacion, Mr. Robert C. Lecquiao, and Attorney Jessa Maris Fernandez. From the Department of Labor and Employment, we have Division Chief Rosalinda Pineda. From the Securities and Exchange Commission, we have Attorney Anne Kathleen G. Daguro and Attorney Marie Grace Angaangan. From the Anti-Money Laundering Council, we have Executive Director Attorney Matthew M. David, Director Jerry L. Leal, and Attorney Arnold T. Cabanlit. From the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, we have Attorney Florabel M. Santos Madrid and Attorney Katrina Ann T. Limbonhay Aldon. And from the Association of Service Providers and Pogos, ASPAP, we have Attorney Paul J. Bongko and Attorney Michael I. Danganan. That will be all, Your Honor.
Thank you, Comsec. For the record, we requested everyone to join us physically today because this is a very critical hearing, and we plan to conclude the hearing today so that we can already report out the committee report. So we requested everyone to participate physically, meaning coming to the Senate. And that's why I thank everyone, and personally thank everyone for taking time, effort. I know you have to take your antigen or other tests to come in the Senate, but I really appreciate your effort in joining us today so that we can discuss in depth and thoroughly and without any technical hindrance the issues surrounding the resolutions and the said law. I requested everyone to be here physically because, as we all know, Zoom or WebEx is not perfect. And there's so many times that we, in the middle of discussing critical items, naglalag siya, nagchoppy siya. I don't know if it's intentionally or not, no? But there's so many things that our recorders cannot record because of technical glitches. No? So it's unfair to the resource person. It's also not good for our records, especially for those people who will be looking at the records in the future. No? So since this is of utmost importance, we requested everyone to join us physically. And I can see the presence of PAGCOR, of course, joined by their team, AMLA, BSP, of course, ASPAP, BIR, all joined by your team. So thank you very much. And let me put on record, we also invited the physical presence of the third-party auditor, namely Globalcom RCI. Whether it's the consortium or the corporation, unfortunately, they cannot join us physically. They requested, for the record, they requested to be linked online. But since everyone is here physically, it's unfair for everyone who came here physically and made an effort. No? If you guys can make an effort, they should also. In the position paper sent us by President Tenko, he specifically mentioned at the end of his position paper that PAGCOR mandated the third-party auditor to participate, in the discussion, to be transparent, and to share necessary documents so that we can clear up whatever issues that we are talking about. However, they're not here physically, obviously. So to me, it's their loss. We gave them an opportunity to clear up certain issues. We gave them the opportunity to answer directly. However, since they're not here, we'll probably direct the questions to PAGCOR. And I know that some of those questions might be best answered by the third-party auditor themselves. But since PAGCOR is the contracting counterparty, and PAGCOR, in effect, is a GOCC owned by the Filipino people, so accountability lies with PAGCOR and the counterparty. And before I continue, let me recognize the presence of the chairman of the Committee on Public Order, Senator Bato de la Rosa, and belated happy birthday, sir. Ewan ko magpapakain kayo ngayon, pero baka tikoy lang ho i-serve nyo. Pwede na rin kung tikoy lang, no? Pang swerte na rin ho yan. So let me just put on record, because again, in the interest of fairness, and I saw, like for example, PAGCOR, who's here in full force. the least the third-party auditor can do is send a representative. I'm sure they can hire lawyers, counsels, and going through their documents, they seem like they have ample people that can represent them physically. So I don't see any reason why Globalcom RCI cannot come here physically. I don't see any um, particular reason for their absence. So before we go into the topic today, we want to hear some opening remarks from the chairman of the Public Order Committee. This is a joint hearing. As you have heard in the uh, resolution, it's the benefits and social costs. The Ways and Means Committee will analyze, of course, the benefits. The social costs, unfortunately, will land in the Committee of Public Order because, of course, the crime and all of those things is within the ambit of the Committee on Public Order. So, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. Sa side ko naman, yung sa public order portion ng investigation nito, I just would like to report to the committee, Mr. Chairman, that yung krimen na nangyari na that was yung laman ng privilege speech ni Senator Grace po ay nasolve na po yun, Mr. Chairman. May nahuli na po ang PNP na tatlong Chinese nationals na ngayon ay facing charges. Yung nga lang, we are encouraging yung victim mismo to come out and file criminal charges for kidnapping doon sa mga suspect na yun. Dahil ang kaso na hinaharap ng mga tatlong Chinese is illegal possession of firearms. May mga armas yung tatlong Chinese, dalawang armas nakuha. So that's it. And I'm just going to listen to the economic aspect of this investigation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, may I ask if those suspects are connected to Pogos?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Sila talaga mismo yung involved, yung in-applyan ng babae, nag-apply yung babae ng trabaho, then bininta nila, parang pinasa nila sa another company. Ngayon, yung company na, another Pogo company na pinasahan, nagkiklaim, naghihingi ngayon ng parang ransom doon sa pamilya ng babae para i-release nila. Dahil nga, nakabayad na sila ng 250,000 daw doon sa unang kumpanya, Pogo company na in-applyan ng babae, pinasa sa kanila, nagbayad ng 250, so para i-release daw nila, kailangan nila ng 250 manggagaling doon sa pamilya ng biktima. That is why I want to press kidnap or ransom charges to these suspects. But unluckily, the PNP was not able to get the full support of the victims para makapag-file tayo ng KIPA. Aside from the illegal possession of firearms that were already filed by the PNP against these suspects. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the information. And that's precisely why we are here. News reports such as what Senator Bato mentioned, crime related to Pogo operators is the one creating fear and instability insofar as peace and order is concerned in our country. Unfortunately, even after enacting the law, we still see and hear a lot of crime perpetuated by Pogo operators, both registered with PAGCOR and both unregistered with PAGCOR. We have already established in the past hearings that some of the crimes perpetuated by Pogo operators are licensees, active licensees of PAGCOR. Some of them are also registered service providers by PAGCOR. So, and we have established that in the past hearings, and that will form part in the committee report, which both committees will be reporting out soon. So, but then again, the other school of thought is we're earning anyways. So this is why we're here weighing the benefits and the social cost, because definitely this type of negative news will have uh, impact to our country's reputation and our country's name. No? And it's very difficult to build name, no? Especially when you want to attract um, investors coming into our country. Our president has been very diligent in going around the world attracting investors to our country. But one news about kidnapping, human trafficking, this one is actually slavery, no? Because you're paying an organization for a specific person. So it's tantamount to modern day
KFR,
slavery
Mr. Chairman,
or
KFR.
KFR. No?
Kidnap for ransom.
So no matter how often our government, our president, specifically our president, will go around the world attracting investors and tourists, news like this will definitely discourage people from coming in and visiting our very beautiful country. So that's why we're here to evaluate and come up with a recommendation that is beneficial to our country now and also in the long term. So with that, we want to hear any opening statement. First, we recognize the presence of the good one, Senator J.V. Arcito.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Happy New Year to all of us. Anyway, I'm also here to, of course, to listen, no, before we come up with the committee report. While I do agree also with our colleagues because of the impact, no, as mentioned by the chair, that on the impression of the country outside because of the negative impact because of the peace and order and other crimes related to the Pogo personalities that happened, no, in the recent months. But as again, I agree that we have to balance, no, that in the same way that in other industries like sa OFW, Mr. Chair, we have also, no, it brings in billions for us and it helps the families of OFW. But there are also social costs, no, yung mga dependents that drop out of school. Some are going to drug addiction, teenage pregnancies. But then we have to weigh, and the benefits outweigh. No? I don't know if it outweighs, but at least it brings in the billions that we need, and it kept our heads above water, especially during crisis. In this, but with this is a new. This is a new development in the recent years, and I would like to, of course, we await the report of the chair of the Committee on Public Order, Sen. Bato, no, on the present situation right now of the Pogo industry and the crime-related instances that happened. However, Mr. Chair, I'm just concerned because I'm being the chair of the Committee on Housing. We know for a fact, based on the data as discussed in this committee, that there are about 1 million. There's about 1 million square meters that are being leased or rented because of the Pogo industry, and I'm just worried about the abrupt or the sudden termination, no, of this business. So we will just try to weigh also the employment. I understand that they have now the legal Pogos that is now trying to employ more Chinese Filipinos, Chinoys or Filipinos that have reached about 40,000. No, so these are the things that we have to consider on how we will evaluate. So while I agree with some of our colleagues who filed the resolutions or bills phasing out or the Pogo industry, but we need to also think of ways on how we can cushion the impact, no, of the sudden stoppage or the sudden ceasing of operations, just in case. So that's my position, Mr. Chair, of course, on how we will be able to cushion the impact on business, on employment. So probably we can also consider to have a transition period, so to speak, no, of probably 2-3 years before we really phase out the industry. While I agree, of course, the social cost will always be will always weigh on the financial benefits that it brings, but I guess we need to weigh things, weigh the facts first, no? And while I agree with the positions, but probably we can consider having a phase out period so that the 40,000 employees, no, will not be. We will have alternatives at least that we can think, so that we can give them employment and other business related, especially in the real estate industry. 1 million square meters is still a big figure for the industry. So that's all, Mr. Chair. I'm here to listen and weigh.
Mr. Chair, if I may, before you start the economic ball rolling, mag-segue ako sandali dito sa security side, Mr. Chair. Yung tatanungin ko lang sana yung PAGCOR kung hindi ba kayo pwedeng magkaroon ng summit sa lahat ng mga legal Pogo operators at sabihan, bigyan nyo ng final warning. Kasi ang ganda na ng takbo after nung hearing natin, sabi ng PNP, zero. Wala na nangyari talaga na Pogo-related crimes. Then, lumabas lang itong na-privileged piece na Senator Po. Then, ito, nagulantang na naman tayo. Pero other than that, yun lang muna ang na-recorded, di ba? Wow, ipatawag nyo lahat sila. Magkaroon kayo ng summit. Bigyan niya ng ultimatum. Pag meron pa siya, kasi alam ko, itong dalawang kumpanya na involved, yung nag-hire na first, at saka yung binintahan, they are all registered. Alam kong registered dito na legitimate ito. Then, kausapin nyo sila na isa pang krimen mangyayari. We will hang you, we will hang everyone. Sabi, huwag kayo matakot, hindi naman ito mga Pilipino mga dayuhan ito. Sabihan nyo, you are here in our country. You should respect us. Huwag nyo babuyin yung aming bansa. Lalong-lalo na pagdating sa public order. You should hawakan nyo sila sa leeg. Andito kayo sa amin. We are PAGCOR. We are the ones regulating you. Kung ayaw yung sumunod sa batas namin, then, sorry, tapos na tayo. Wala nang usapan. Ganun ang gawin ninyo. It's about time na we have to assert our supremacy over them. Kung hindi natin kaya yung supremacy nila sa West Philippine Sea, we are supreme here dito sa ating Pogo operations. Nandito sila sa ating bansa. Nandito sila sa ating teritoryo. Di ba? I-assert natin yung ating supremacy over them. Isa na lang. Pag magkakaroon pa ng isang krimen dyan, tapos na kayo, we will hang everyone. All companies. We will hang all companies ang Pogo. Parang ganun ba? Kaya nyo gawin yan? Sino pang presidente ng PAGCOR ngayon?
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Chairman. Good morning, Chairman.
Sinong
Go
presidente?
ahead to any of the PAGCOR representatives.
Good morning to our Senator from San Juan. Sir, upon the assumption of our new chairman, Mr. Alejandro H. Tenco, he summoned all the operators and warned them that anyone who got involved or gets involved in illegal activity will have his or her license revoked, charged, and deported to wherever they came from.
Very good. Very good.
Maybe
Pero after na yan, nung privilege space ni Senator Grace po, o before pa?
before pa po.
Before pa.
Opo.
So, yung dalawang kumpanya na yun,
Yes, sir.
palayasin nyo yun.
Yes.
You coordinate with coordinate ba sa yung Pasay Police para makuha yung dalawang kumpanya na yun para palayasin na nyo yun dito. You don't have business to be here in our country. Ganon yung ugali ninyo. Sama ng ugali ninyo. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for the record, Attorney Consolacion, who are the two Pogo companies that were embroiled in this crime?
May I refer to
Just
you,
for the record,
your-
because we're in this topic already, and we want to see ano bang action na ginawa na ng PAGCOR, no? First of all is, who are these two licensees or these two Pogo operators? And then what are the actions conducted by PAGCOR? Are they still operating despite the news reports and despite already establishing that they are embroiled in kidnapping?
Mr. Chairman, may I refer to
Yes.
Attorney Jessa?
Go ahead.
He's the new head of our OGLD, Offshore Gaming Licenses Department.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. So actually, we have yet to receive coordination with regard to the specific event. However, based on news reports that we have here, the company that was found to be in that building was already imposed penalties at the time that we received the report. But rest assured that the specific kidnap for ransom case that was mentioned by Senator Bato will be dealt with more severely once we get the information within the day, Mr. Chair.
How severe, ma'am? How severe kaya? We will
It is
expect-
possible for us to suspend or cancel the accreditation and the license of these licensees or service providers.
And deportation.
Yes,
Subsequent
and the
deportation.
deportation or the filing of the appropriate cases to these foreign nationals involved in these.
Pero kung may kidnap or ransom case sila,
Hindi pa po
hindi sila
ma-deport.
pwede i-deport, di ba?
Yes, sir.
It's enough na yun siguro, Mr. Chair, na mahintay yung operation nila kasi nakakulong man ngayon yung tatlong Chinese, nakakulong man. And sana tutulungan niyo kaming makumbinsi yung victim. Sabihin niyo, kasi sa kabila, hindi lang PNP na mamaloob sa amin, pati PAGCOR na mamaloob sa amin na makasuhan ng kidnap or ransom itong mga Chinese na ito. Ayaw na rin yung nahirapan ng PNP mag-cooperate sa nang maghingi ng cooperation from the victims. Yun lang. Salamat ha. Kung may severe actions kayo nagagawin sa kanila. Severe punishment.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, if I may just add, ito medyo mas minor naman, no? It's not really a crime. Kaya lang, ako kasi biker, I bike to work here, no? Merong incident last year that two bikers who were just resting dito sa Moa area where I also bike. Figure ng accident and fatal, no? Namatay yung dalawa. Mga Mr. Chair, involved din mga Pogo rin, no? Yung Chinese na, kasi they come home late in this area sa entertainment city natin, maga-maga. It will cause, kumbaga meron ding, may danger din, no? To cyclists, pedestrians. Umuwi sila 4, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., minsan 6 a.m. Yun lang, better put on record also that it's not really crime related, pero for the safety of the people around also, baka pwede rin, I don't know if how we can also PAGCOR probably can take it up to the ASPAP, no? Kasi baka mamaya nagbabike lang ako dyan, masagasaan ako ng lasing na inchik dyan, di ba? Wow, wala rin good. But anyway, just related, no? It's minor, but at least dalawa yung Mr. Chair, dalawa yung namatay na cyclists who were just resting on the sidewalks, no? So it can happen to anybody. And daming nagbabike dyan, eh. Sa MOA, sometimes 500, 300s, especially on weekends. And yung mga pedestrians also going to work. Yun lang doon. Siguro, I hope that the PAGCOR can take that also with the legal pogos. Thank you.
Attorney Jesse, for the record, who are these Pogo operators who are connected to the crime that was subject to the privilege speech?
Sir, based on the news report, there is no company mentioned specifically. However, there is a building. It says here that they are coordinating with the management of the Shuangma Industrial Park for the investigation.
Based on the privilege speech by Senator Po, there's a company called Brick Carts Technology Incorporated that is operating in Shuangma Industrial Park. And then another one is MOA Cloud Zone Corporation. Are these licensees of PAGCOR?
These are service providers, Mr. Chair.
These are accredited service providers.
Yes, sir.
And they are connected to the crime that was mentioned by Senator Poe in her privilege speech. Tama po ba?
Yes, sir, based on her privilege speech.
You know,
Mr.
Attorney
Chair.
Jessa, the privilege speech was given December 14. And you're telling me wala pa kayong ginagawa.
Actually, Mr. Chair, Brickheart was already imposed penalty, demerits, and they were made to pay a penalty after the report was submitted. However, for MOA Cloud Zone, sir, we have yet to receive
Yeah,
a
but
formal report on
what I'm
this.
saying is, December 14 in privilege speech, hindi ba dapat kayo na gumawa ng action para mag-investigate? And sabi nga ni Chairman Bato, kick them out immediately. These are embroiled in kidnap for ransom. I don't think no amount of penalty will stop them from doing this.
Mr.
These are
Chair,
criminal elements. Do you think they will be scared of penalties?
tama po kayo, Mr. Chair. Ngayon po, sisimulan ko na po na
Ba't ngayon lang?
ayusin po
Ano na
ito.
ngayon? January 23 na.
Yes, sir. We have just gotten the name of the other service provider, Mr. Chair. So, huwag po kayo mag-alala. Tututukan po
Nag-aalala
namin.
ako eh.
Yes, sir.
Nag-alala talaga ako because the privilege speech was given December 14. And what you're telling me, wala pang action ang PAGCOR. Tama? Anong ginawa nyo for Brickheart's Technology MOA Cloud Zone? What have you done to date?
Okay. Sa Brickheart's Technology po, sir, nakapag-impose na po kami ng penalty. However po, sa MOA Cloud Zone
How
po,
much is the penalty?
10,000 US dollars, Mr. Chair.
So 500,000 pesos. 10,000 US dollars. So 500,000 pesos ang penalty niya. And the penalty is because they are connected to a criminal activity. Is that correct?
There is a report, Mr. Chair, that there is a criminal activity that has transpired in their.
But they're still
location.
operating.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So do you think the 500,000 pesos will deter them from doing this again?
Mr. Chair, I don't think that's why po.
So why
We will
bakit
be
hindi pa
doing
sila
this.
pinapaalis?
Gagawin po namin lahat, Mr. Chair. As mentioned po by Mr. Attorney Consolacion, I have just gotten this appointment in this
Yeah, but
department.
you know, this is itong problema ng PAGCOR. You know, even in the position paper of your chairman, he's defending Pogo. And his solution is regulation. No? Strict regulation in the position paper. Binasa ko yung position paper niya. He said, Pogo is good, let's just regulate it. You're telling me after December 14, inimpose nyo lang sila ng 500,000 pesos. And we are praying na hindi na nila uulitin yon.
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Mhm.
Yung PAGCOR should do their part also. Di ba? If they want us to support their stand, dapat they should do your part also. Nangyari na yan eh. Hanggang, sabi mo, before pa na privilege space ni Senator Grace po, meron na silang penalty, nabigyan na penalty. After nung privilege space ni Grace po, nagkandak ng investigation ng PNP, lumabas na yung pangalan ng mga involved na kumpanya. Dapat swift tayo sa ating gagawin para maniwala yung tao sa atin na kasi hanggang sabihin nila magaling lang naman ito PAGCOR sa collection ng revenue. Ang regulation na regulatory function nila hindi na masyado ginagampanan, hanggang collection na lang kayo. But i-regulate nyo ng gusto para apektado tayo lahat eh. Apektado tayo lahat. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Attorney Consolacion.
Mr. Chair, we apologize for that. But the reason why Attorney Jessa got involved in Pogo, in OGLD, is the reorganization of the department. The old one was sidelined because of these issues, and Attorney Jessa was appointed just last week.
Don't accept the reason that because Attorney Jessa is new, you have a reorganization, that a crime that was perpetuated last month, December 14 in particular, after 30 days, more than 30 days, nothing is happening. The same people are operating, the same entities are still accredited by PAGCOR, and you're just telling us that you just fine them 500,000 pesos, hoping that they will change morally.
That's the very reason, Your Honor, that
And then you
the
sent us a position paper saying that let's continue with PAGCOR and regulate them. Do you think this is effective regulation? So honestly, sabihin niyo sa amin, is this effective regulation?
Yes,
After 30 days, wala kayong ginawa?
that's the very reason, Your Honor, that the the former head was sidelined and he eventually resigned from his position. Nakukulangan ho si Chairman sa action niya. So,
Pati ngayon, nakukulangan pa rin kami.
yes, sir.
Yeah, but don't give us the reason that you have a new head. There's no sense of urgency within PAGCOR in so far as dealing with the crime. That's the problem.
Kaya, Mr. Chair, pakiramdam naman itong mga Chinese na ito, okay lang pala ito. Wala tayong problema dito. Ipapahin lang tayo ng penalize natin ng 500,000. Okay lang. Continue. Pag meron naman tayo diyang ibibinta na worker, continue the crime. Parang gano'n mangyari. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, we apologize for that, but we will really closely coordinate with the PNP and the NBI to resolve this as soon as possible. Rest assured po na tututukan po talaga namin ito. I am very sorry, sir, that it took a while, but titingnan po talaga namin ito para po hindi na po mangyari po sa susunod.
Sorry din na ikaw ang nabagsakan sa lahat ng problema.
It's okay po.
Sabi mo, 1 week ka pa lang dyan, pero pasensya na. Ganun man talagang takbo ng buhay. Nasa gobyerno tayo. Talagang, kasi kami rin, kung hindi na namin papalabas yung aming sentimento, useless itong hearing na ito. Wala rin mangyari sa hearing na ito, di ba? Kaya pinapalabas namin kami mga senador, anong dapat para mag-react kayo. Because you are in the executive. Kami dito, paano kami dito, oversight function na kami para sa inyo. Kaya tulungan tayo. We are hoping na may mangyari after this hearing, ha? Sana may mangyari. Pakisabi kay chairman, hindi na nga siya nag-attend dito, hindi na nga siya nag-attend sa hearing dito. Dapat mabilis sa action, ha?
Yes,
Yun lang.
yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
From time to time, remind ko rin ho si Attorney Jessa na tutukan tong case na to.
Just for the record, in the list that you gave us, Big Hearts Technology and MOA Cloud Zone is still, this is as of December 15, 2022. It's still operating. So right now, are they still operating?
Yes, sir.
And even after the conclusion of the investigation, the apprehension of the criminals, they're still operating?
Sir, of course, we have to get the copy of the report,
Why
Mr.
don't you
Chair.
get the copy
Yes, we will
immediately?
get, Mr. Chair, and we will immediately evaluate on what would be the penalty or the correct administrative penalties that we can give. So our administrative penalties can range from penalties up to the cancellation of their accreditation. So when we get the full investigation as well as the complete process, then we will also take action. Pero wag po kayo mag-alala, Mr. Chair, hindi lang po, kahit po, kasi alam naman po natin na hindi pa napapatunayan ito, investigation pa lamang po ito, titingnan na po namin kung ano ang magagawa ng PAGCOR para po igting namin yung pagsunod po nitong mga service providers na ito sa mga natin, batas at ano pang mga rules and regulations na
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
wala.
Ma'am, sana huwag natin hintayin na, kasi sabi mo, investigation pa lang ito, hindi pa napatunayan. Makahintayin natin muna na makonbikto yung tatlong Chinese na yan sa kasong inaharap nila bago nyo aksyonan yung kanilang kumpanya.
No, Mr. Chair.
You have to act swiftly. Kaya nga, sabi ko, Mr. Chair, during yung hearing na tayo, parang hindi nag-uusap itong mga ahensya na involved, ang PNP at ang PAGCOR. During next hearing, magkaroon kami ng hearing doon with the PNP, i-admonish ko na naman sila na hindi kayo binigyan ng kopya ng kanilang report. Hindi. Ay, nako. Dapat nag-uusap kayo palagi. Yun ang problema natin eh. Hindi kayo nag-uusap, mga ahensya involved. Kaya kanya-kanyang kalat tayo. At saka, magpakita rin kayo ng effort. Puntahan niyo yung Pasay Police. Hingi kayo ng kopya ng report nila kung sino yung mga kumpanya involved.
Yes, sir.
Ganun
We
lang
will.
sana, para mabilis tayo. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I agree with Senator De La Rosa. No, your action, the agency's action, PNP PAGCOR, will influence our decision on this committee. Because ito nga yung pinakapulot dulo ng why we are holding this hearing. It's a social cost. And if the agencies do not act, talagang ano yung what will be yung position ng PAGCOR is for Pogo to continue. But if the agencies are not acting on this crime, hindi lang to ordinary crime, may kidnap, may iba pang krimen na nangyari, you should act already, di ba? Tama sen ba ito, paulit-ulit tayo. If you don't coordinate, because this will, Mr. Chairman, this will greatly influence our position and our decision regarding the fate of the Pogos in this in the Pogo industry as a whole in the country. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Bato and Senator JV. In the position paper by President Tenko, his position here and stated, shutting down Pogo operations is not the appropriate response to the challenges that the industry is facing. Instead, we advocate for the proper regulation of the Pogo industry. That's your position. But now you're telling us that after 1 month, a privilege speech was given, complete with details on who were connected to the crime that was committed. You only find them 500,000 pesos. But they're still operating, they're still here in our country, the employees are still there. Sino naman matatakot sa atin? Kung mabagal na yung action, 500,000 pesos lang ang fine. That's why Senator Bato is absolutely correct. That's why none of the Pogo operators, especially those who are involved in crime, respects us. Because mabagal tayo at ang mga punishment natin, 500,000 pesos. And then that you're telling us, you have to wait for the investigation. Ano naman natin, that will take time. No? And that's I don't understand why you are advocate regulation, but you yourself is inefficient when it comes to regulation. 1 month, it's unacceptable. Binigyan na nga kayo ng lead eh. And then you're still waiting. Sana naman lang, you went to the police station, you got the reports, you did your own action. Why wait? Bakit pa tayo mag-aantay? The privilege speech was already a trigger to you. It was a message to PAGCOR. Why wait?
Well, Mr. Chairman, yung stand ng PAGCOR chairman previously, di ba? Na hindi po kami, Your Honor, ang police. Pagdating sa krimen, hirap po kami. Ang police po, ang trabaho po yan ng police. Pero parang iniiwasan nila yung kanilang regulatory function over this. Ang police naman, taga-huli ng krimen, taga-stop ng crime. Pero yung operation ng Pogo, kanila talaga yun. That was regulating Pogo. Kaya huwag kayong umiwas sa responsibilidad pagdating sa mga subsequent or mga epekto ng Pogo operations such as krimen, huwag talaga yung iwasan niya. Dahil kayo talaga nag-regulate. The first place, walang Pogo crimes kung hindi ninyo binigyan ng Pogo license yung mga mga kumpanya na yan, di ba? Walang Pogo crimes kung hindi nag-operate yung mga tao na yan. So, yung mga subsequent mga bunga, yung mga resultant ng Pogo operation sa crimes ay konsensya pa rin natin, karga di konsensya pa rin ninyo. So, yun lang, mag-usap kayo sa PNP. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor. Correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney Jessa. Yung pong 500,000 initial lang po yun. May susunod pang mga penalties and punishment siguro na nakulangan lang si chairman po kaya inalis yung previous department head. So pag ni Attorney Jessa, pagtulungan ho namin to na ma-resolve ng legal department.
Huwag mo na hintayin na ikaw na naman maalis, ha? Kawawa ka naman, maalis ka naman yan. Kaya we need actions, ha? We need action. We need results.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you po.
We need urgency. That's what we need. If you want to regulate this effectively, we need urgency. And I don't see that, especially with this example. And that's why in my head, while PAGCOR is deriving revenue from all of this, I think you're treating the criminals, those who are connected to crime, with leniency. You're not strict with them because on one hand, you're getting revenue from them. On one hand, you're regulating them. But obviously, your regulation is slow and it's also not substantial. So that's why dito lumalabas in dito lumalabas yung conflict of interest. Because you're dalawa kayo yung kumikita kayo on one hand, pero on the other hand, you're regulating. But your regulation, makita naman natin, pang bata. Mabagal pa. That's why you cannot erase from our minds that conflict of interest is actually happening with this industry. That's why it's not improving, in so far as regulation is concerned. And this is a prime example. So in any case, just to move forward with this topic, if I am you, these two companies should be banned completely. Should not be allowed to operate. Get all the names involved in the crime and completely ban them. Don't allow them to come in our shores. If I'm you. So in any ways, that's my opinion. I'll defer to our colleagues on their suggestion, but please submit to us your subsequent action on this matter with urgency.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So to go to the topic, in RA 11590, this is the law governing the taxation of Pogo. On Section 8, there is a very important feature in the law. This is the contracting of a third-party auditor. I'm sure you're familiar with that. And the third-party auditor has strict qualifications in the law. It should be independent, should be reputable, it should be internationally known, duly accredited as such by an accrediting or similar agency recognized by industry experts. So the law is very strict. So let me just put on record. Number one, let's go backtrack a little bit. How come, even prior to the law, PAGCOR engaged a third-party auditor? What is the reason for that? PAGCOR being a old institution already, supposedly expert in gaming. So how come PAGCOR still contracted a third-party auditor in 2017?
Your Honor, for PAGCOR, this industry, the online gaming industry, is new to us. We engage in this industry only in 2017, 2018. Before that, hindi ho kami regulated operator nitong Pogo. So
So,
wala ho kaming expertise, wala kaming knowledge with this gaming industry.
so,
We engage a third party.
so in other words, even prior to the law, PAGCOR is not familiar with this new industry, Pogo, no, in particular, and that led you to a decision to contract the third party, the auditing to a third party. Tama po ba?
We have knowledge, Your Honor, dun sa technical know-how dun sa gaming, pero dun sa pagdating dun sa reporting ng account ng reporting ng income, since this is new technology, accounting side, wala ako kaming knowledge pagdating doon sa technical knowledge, technical expertise, wala ako kaming. Pero doon sa gaming itself, may knowledge ko kami doon, may expertise ko kami doon.
Thank you. And then, what particular aspect third party auditor audit and report to PAGCOR?
Ito po yung yung backroom offices. Two aspects mo kasi ang Pogo. Backroom and yung front room na tinatawag namin na yung open na gaming. Pero yung accounting side, Inc. Yun po yung nire-report sa amin ng third-party audit. Perhaps Mr. Robert Loquiao can expound on this.
Before we continue, let me acknowledge the presence of Senator Robin Padilla, who is in his Jackie Chan attire. So, is there any opening statement?
Una po, isang magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat, sa ating mahal na tagapangulo, ang Einstein ng Senado, mabuhay po. Si Senator Wing Gatchalian, at kasama din po natin ang pinakamatigas dito sa Senado, Senator Bato, at ang anak ng masa, ang talaga pong mahal na mga riders, lahat. Senator J.B. Hercito, at sa lahat po ng ating panauhin. Ako po ay galing lang sa isang pagpupulong din. Nakita nyo naman ho, ako'y kung ipatsoy. At habang papunta dito, nakikinig ako. Sabi ko, nung una ko nakita, sabi ko, hindi naman ako siguro kailangan dito dahil sugal, wala naman akong alam sa sugal. Pero nung narinig ko na tungkol sa mga kriminal ito, kailangan ako dito. Dahil ito, linya ko to. Kaya po, nandito ako. Kaya makikinig muna po ako. Maraming salamat po, mahal na tagapangulo.
Thank you, Senator Padilla, for that. Sigurado matatakot sa inyo ngayong mga krimen. Naka-Jackie Chan ano kayo eh.
Ang kung fu ito.
Thank you for that. So, go ahead,
Good morning, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, no.
Robert Luquiao po from PAGCOR Senate. Ang basis po ng billing ng PAGCOR is from the audit platform. And doon po namin kinukuha yung GGR or the 2% of GGR or minimum guaranteed fee, whichever is higher.
Well, what's the importance of the gross gaming revenue or GGR? Saan po ginagamit yan?
Sir, yan po ang basis nating 2% para po sa regulatory fees and doon po sa 5% ng BIR.
Okay. So without an accurate GGR, the regulatory fees of PAGCOR can be in question. Without an accurate GGR, the franchise fee or the tax being paid to BIR can be in question.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So it's important that we have an accurate gross gaming revenue.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Correct. And because PAGCOR does not have the technical know-how then, we relied on the expertise of the third-party auditor.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Correct. So this third-party auditor is supposed to be an expert, supposed to be highly qualified, and in the bounds of the law, uh, independent, reputable, internationally known, duly accredited as such by an accredited or similar agency recognized by industry experts. Correct?
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
Sige po. I saw in the records that the third-party auditor was contracted in 2017. Correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And the law was enacted in 2021. No? Tama?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So, and PAGCOR never endeavored to conduct another round of bidding to comply with the law. Nakuha nyo? Na-enact yung law, patinuloy nyo pa rin yung 2017 third-party auditor nyo, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, because we have a contractual obligation with them. May contract na napiman before 3 years or 4 years before ng law.
Yeah, but the law is very specific to its qualifications.
And we believe, Your Honor,
Okay. Did so you believe that they're compliant with the law?
yes, Your Honor.
Did you come up with an evaluation if they are all of these things independent, reputable, internationally known, and duly accredited? Did you conduct any evaluation if they are indeed compliant with the law?
Yes, Your Honor. There is a standing order for the casino monitoring and enforcement department that we evaluate. They evaluate the qualification of our contractee or our consultant.
There's an evaluation report, a legal evaluation, because importante na masunod yung batas no? And that's why the gross gaming revenue is important, but equally important because PAGCOR does not have the technical capability is the credibility and the technical know-how of the third-party auditor. And the minimum requirements are specified in the law, very clear and in the law. So since you did not conduct any selection process after the law was enacted, so you think that the existing third-party auditor is compliant with the law,
Yes, Your Honor.
and you have an evaluation to do so.
Do you have evaluation?
Sir, Mr. Chair, meron po kami evaluation and meron po mga ibang mga non-deliverables na meron po kami report.
Na compliant siya with the law.
Yes, sir.
Pinanggaan nyo siya sa batas, in other words.
Yes, sir.
Submit to us that evaluation report.
Okay, Mr.
So what you're saying is when the law was enacted, nag-evaluate kayo. Tinignan nyo si Globalcom. Pasok naman siya sa batas. Tama? That's what you're saying?
May report, sir.
Submit to us that report.
Yes, sir.
Because I want to see how they are compliant with the law because very strict ang batas. For example, duly accredited as such by an accredited or similar agency recognized by industry experts. Yeah, that's why nga itong accreditation meron silang accreditation itong Globalcom.
Yes, sir. Meron po.
Because one of the minimum requirements here is duly accredited as such by an accrediting or similar agency recognized by industry experts. So si Globalcom, meron ba siyang accreditation?
Sir, that's sa TOR po.
No, but sa TOR siya.
Yes, sir.
So later on we'll discuss that. Later on we'll discuss that. But submit to us your evaluation that they are compliant with the law.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
One of the most okay, we said earlier that the third party auditor is important. No, the role is very critical because they determine the gross gaming revenues, and the gross gaming revenues that determines the tax being paid to PAGCOR and the regulatory fees being paid to PAGCOR. No, and I was going through your TOR, and there are certain qualifications that the third party auditor should comply with, the minimum qualifications. One of which is the operating capital of at least 1 billion pesos. No, that is important. Obviously, this is a big project. So PAGO required them to come up with an operating capital of at least 1 billion pesos. So have they fulfilled this requirement?
Your Honor, uh, yes, Your Honor. One of the 3 members of the consortium submitted a bank certificate with the $25 million worth. Worth $25 million, Your Honor. That's a global RCI.
Which bank did the certification emanate from? For the record.
Solid charter. Standard Chartered Bank, Your Honor.
Under Chartered Bank?
Yes, Your Honor.
In the document you submitted to us, it's not. It's called Solel Chartered Bank.
Sorry, Your Honor.
This is a document that you submitted to us.
Chartered Bank.
Okay. So that's their proof that they have 1 billion pesos in terms of operating capital.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because if you go through the financial statements of the 3 entities, Global Myoho, Comfac, and HiWeb, I'll show the AFS, the audited financial statements that were submitted to us. No, for Global Myoho, it only has 29 million in terms of yung pinaka-latest. Ito yung nag-bid sila, no? In 2017, they only have 29 million pesos in terms of equity. No? In terms of kay Comfac, it has 341 million pesos at the time, no? Kay HiWeb, because these are based in Malta, no? So lumalabas that 240.
Opo, kasi ordinary siya.
Paid
up lang 1,200.
Ang paid up, no? Ang paid up capital niya is only 240 euros. So 13,000 pesos, no? Ang authorized niya is 1,200 euros. No? So ang authorized niya, ang paid up niya, because 20% paid up is about 240. So that's 13,000. So equity-wise, they're not qualified, correct?
That's our dilemma, Your Honor. The law, the Republic Act 9184, accepts this kind of document, and we cannot just disqualify a bidder based on anything other than this submittal. Presence or absence lang ho ng document na accepted ng RA 9184 and it's a rules and regulation. Yun lang pong tinitingnan ng Bids and Awards Committee.
But it's established that capital-wise, they don't have the capital. Their capital is insufficient for that 1 billion peso operating capital. Tama? Based on the financial statements they submitted to you in 2017.
Yes, Your Honor.
Correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
But they submitted to you a letter of credit issued by Solel Chartered Bank in 2017.
Yes, Your Honor.
Who is this Solel Chartered Bank? Are they registered? Are they present here in the Philippines?
I'm not so sure, Your Honor.
Did you? Kasi here it's in their letterhead is based in I think Tectite yata to eh. Pasig, Philippine Stock Exchange. So that's Tectite, correct? So did you visit their office?
Not the Bids and Awards Committee, Your Honor, but we leave it all to the TWG and the back secretariat, Your Honor.
Yeah, but did they visit the office? This one. Whoever in PAGCOR, just answer. No? Kasi mahirap magturuan. Simple lang. Did you visit the office of Solel Chartered Bank?
I have
I see that they're not umiiling sila eh. So
yes, Your Honor.
usually they did not visit the office of Solel Chartered Bank.
Yes, sir.
Did you check BSP if this Solel Chartered Bank is even registered in the Philippines? So nobody checked if the Solel Chartered Bank is registered in the Philippines. Is that correct? Please answer on the mic.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Nobody checked.
Nobody checked.
Nobody checked. So walang pumunta sa office, wala rin nag-check sa BSP on the part of PAGCOR, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I invited BSP here because when I saw this certification, I had doubts eh. Who is this bank? Because sa tagal ko sa negosyo tsaka dito sa Pilipinas, I've never heard of this bank. So I asked BSP if Solel Chartered Bank, take note, it's a bank, is duly registered with PAGCOR in 2017 and to date. Can I direct this question to the BSP?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. So for the BSP, based on our records, Mr. Chair, Solel Chartered Bank has never been, it's not a registered bank with the BSP and is not allowed to operate in the Philippines.
Was it registered in 2017?
Based on our records, Mr. Chair, no.
Is any kind of institution allowed to issue standby letter of credit? Any institution that are not registered with the Bangko Sentral allowed to issue letter of credit?
Based on our regulations, Mr. Chair, only a bank registered with the BSP or licensed with the BSP is authorized to issue letters of credit.
So, who is this Solel Chartered Bank?
Based on just our research in the internet, Mr. Chair, it appears to be a bank operating in the US. They have a website, but we cannot verify that yet. But what appears here in the document is they indicated an address in the Philippines, which based on our records does not exist. It's not authorized by the BSP.
So it's very clear that Solel Chartered Bank is not registered with BSP in 2017 to date, and only banking institutions registered with the BSP can issue standby letter of credit, correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So yung in-issue nila na standby letter of credit, can you see? Can you let's flash it on the screen? So what is this document in your opinion, attorney?
Mr. Chair, this appears to be a bank certification, not really a letter of credit. It just indicates that Global MRCI, it certifies that its customer, perhaps Global MRCI, has a $25 million funds with them, but but this entity is not registered with the BSP.
Are banks are companies like this declaring that they are banks can set up in the Philippines without the registration of BSP?
No, Mr. Chair, they have to be registered or licensed by the BSP to operate as a bank in the Philippines.
So in other words, this bank certification is pure use.
It appears so, Mr. Chair.
So in other words, nabudol po ang PAGCOR. Tama? Nabudol kayo eh. Walang Soler Chartered Bank registered with BSP. Walang this type of company, this type of bank can operate in the shores of the Philippines without registering with the BSP. And then yet they have an address here, and yet they are issuing certifications. At the same time, you never went to their office, you never checked with the BSP, but yet you took their word for it. So wala silang capital, yung kanilang bank certification is pure use. So paano sila naging compliant to the TOR of 1 billion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
in short, ang PAGCOR ay na-estapa. Sa police language, na-estapa ang PAGCOR itong mga tao na ito. Hindi pa naman siguro time lang, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman.
Your Honor, we will look onto this, and perhaps we can establish their. We can ask their comment on this. We will look on this document, Your Honor, and perhaps we can ask their comment on this document, Your Honor. If only Global RCR are here.
Yeah, but 2017 to, Attorney Consolacion. It's already 2023. So for the last
Yes, Your Honor.
5 years, you never endeavored to verify, and yet you signed a contract with them worth how much for the next 10 years? 6 billion?
Yes, Your Honor.
This contract is 6 billion worth for the next 10 years. And they were awarded the contract based on a spurious bank certification issued by an entity not registered with BSP and claiming to be a bank.
Perhaps you can go to our records, Your Honor, and ask their comment on this, and maybe we can recommend that this contract be terminated if this is really an spurious document.
In your, I'll just show this. No? In fact, in your, you gave them a perfect score.